left for dead. The battlefield was quiet. Smoke rose in the air, mixing with dust and blood. Broken metal pieces and burned machines were everywhere. Bodies of soldiers, both human and alien, lay still. The war had ended here, but nobody won. Captain. Raylan opened his eyes slowly. Pain shot through his body. His armor was damaged, his helmet cracked. One side of his face was covered in blood. His hand reached out, grabbing the ground. It was wet. Not with water, with blood. He tried to speak, but only a cough came out. His throat was dry and his lungs hurt. He looked around. No movement, just silence. His team, gone, every one of them. Is anyone there? He whispered, but the wind gave no answer. Raylan had been part of a special unit, sent to fight on this alien world. They were told it would be an easy mission. They were wrong. The enemy had come fast. Strange creatures with dark skin, sharp armor, and glowing weapons. They moved like shadows, too quick to fight. Raylan's team never had a chance. He pulled himself forward, dragging his body across the ground. Each move was pain. Something was broken. Maybe his leg. Maybe more. But he didn't stop. He couldn't. He had to survive. Then he heard something. A sound. Soft, almost like breathing. He froze. His hand reached for his sidearm, but it was gone, lost in the battle. He looked around, heart beating faster. A shadow moved between the broken machines. Not large, not loud. Smooth, like smoke. "Who's there?" he said, voice shaking. No answer. The air around him felt cold. Not from the weather, but from something else, something strange. He tried to stand, but his body gave up. He fell on his back, breathing hard. He looked up at the sky. The stars above were unfamiliar. This planet was not Earth, and it was not safe. His eyes began to close. Sleep called him. Or maybe death. But then he saw it. A figure, standing over him. Tall, thin, wearing something dark that moved like liquid. Glowing red eyes stared down at him. He wanted to scream, but his voice was gone. The figure knelt beside him. A hand touched his chest. Soft. Warm. Too warm. "You are not ready to die?" the voice whispered. Not with sound, but in his mind. His eyes widened. The pain was fading. His body felt lighter. The blood on his chest stopped flowing. "Who are you?" he managed to say. The figure leaned closer. It was a woman, at least she looked like one. Pale skin, silver hair, eyes like fire. Not human. Not even close. "You are strong," she said in his head. Strong enough to be saved. Her fingers touched his neck, and something cold entered his veins. He gasped. His heart stopped. For one terrible second, he felt nothing. Then, boom. It beat again. Harder, stronger, faster. His wounds closed. Bones snapped back into place. The pain was gone, but something else had taken its place. He sat up with a cry, pulling away from her, breathing fast. "What did you do to me?" She smiled. Not cruel, but not kind either. "I gave you life. My life," she said. "You are not dying today, human. Not yet." Raylan looked at his hands. They were different. The skin looked smoother. The blood gone. His vision was sharper. He could see every piece of dust in the air. Every broken wire in the machines. "What am I?" She stood and turned away. "You will learn soon. For now, rest. Your war is not over." He wanted to ask more, to scream, to run, but his body refused. Sleep took him fast, but not from pain this time, from something else. Something deep, ancient inside him now. As he closed his eyes, the last thing he saw was her silhouette, standing in the smoke, watching over him like a shadow from a dream. The Queen of Shadow's darkness. Captain Raylan opened his eyes but saw nothing. Only shadows. The air was cold. The ground beneath him felt smooth like black stone. No pain in his body, no wounds, no blood. He sat up slowly. His hand touched his chest. His heart was beating, but differently. Calm. Too calm. "Where am I?" he said into the silence. A soft hum came from the walls. The room was alive. Breathing. Not made by humans. Raylan stood confused. The last thing he remembered was the battlefield. And her. The woman with red eyes. "Hello?" he called again. Then the lights came on. Not bright but soft, blue and silver. They didn't come from bulbs. They floated in the air like fireflies. The shadows moved aside, showing a long hallway, curved and smooth like bone. A voice entered his mind, not words but thoughts. "Follow." His feet moved without thinking. Part of him wanted to run. The other part wanted to know what had changed inside him. As he walked, the hallway shifted. Walls moved like they were alive. Symbols glowed and faded. It was like walking through a dream or a nightmare. Finally, the hallway opened into a giant chamber. Tall pillars stretched to a ceiling he couldn't see. Floating crystals lit the room. In the center stood a throne made of dark metal and glowing red stone. And on it, her, the woman from before. She rose slowly, her eyes glowing like twin moons of fire. "You are awake," she said. Her voice was soft, but every word echoed through. His bones, Raylan stepped back. "What are you? What did you do to me?" "I saved your life," she said, walking down from the throne. "You were dying, broken, left behind. But I saw something inside you. Something rare." "What are you?" he asked again. She smiled. "I am Queen Syraxa, last daughter of the Nightborn, ruler of the Black Star Empire." Her presence filled the room like gravity. Not just beauty, but power. Old power. Cold, dangerous, eternal. "Nightborn?" he whispered. "What does that mean?" "My people live in the dark between stars," she said. "We do not feed on blood like human myths. We feed on life, energy, memory, emotion. Your war brought pain and fire to our world. We watched. And we chose. You chose me?" he asked. She nodded. "Yes, I chose you to carry my gift and my curse." "What curse?" She moved closer until her face was inches from his. "You are not human anymore, Raylan. Your body is alive, but not like before. You will heal fast. You will grow stronger. Your senses will sharpen. But sunlight will burn you. Time will no longer touch you. You are immortal now." Raylan stared at her, shaking his head. "Why? Why would you do this to me?" "Because you are useful," she said, her voice colder now. "You are a soldier, a weapon, and my people are dying." "So you turned me into a monster?" he asked. She tilted her head. "No, I turned you into something better." He clenched, his fists. "I didn't ask for this. And I didn't ask your world to bring war to mine," she snapped. Her voice thundered in the chamber. The crystals around them cracked with energy. "But here we are." Silence fell between them. Then she turned, walking back to her throne. "If you wish to survive, you must train. Learn your new body. Control your hunger." "Hunger?" he asked. "You will feel it soon," she said. "The need to feed. Not on food, not on blood, but on life itself." He felt cold, not from fear, but from something deeper. Something waking inside him. As he looked around the chamber, he saw shadows moving in the corners, tall figures with glowing eyes. They were watching him. Silent. Judging. He wasn't alone here. "What if I refuse?" he asked. Queen Syraxa looked at him over her shoulder. "Then you will lose control. You will feed without knowing. And you will become a beast." Suddenly, one of the shadows stepped forward. It was another Nightborn, male, tall and armored. His voice was like stone. "He is weak," the man said. Let me finish what the battlefield started. Saraxa raised her hand. You will not. Touch him, General Oris, Oris growled. He is human, he will betray you. Then I will see it myself, she replied. She looked at Raylan again. Her eyes were not cruel, but they held a deep sadness, like someone who had lived too long and lost too much. You have 7 sons to learn, Raylan. After that, the real war begins. What war? He asked. The war between my kind, the old blood and the new. He didn't understand, but something told him he would soon. As he followed her out of the chamber, one thought burned in his mind. He was no longer part of Earth, and Earth might not be ready for what he had become. Learning the darkness, the training chamber was silent. Cold black stone covered the walls, the floor, and the ceiling. No windows, no doors, no escape. Captain Raylan stood alone in the center. He was shirtless now, his skin pale and smooth, healed from every wound, but something felt wrong. Something inside him was changing. He looked at his own hands. They didn't feel like his. His muscles were stronger, faster, too perfect. The Queen's words echoed in his head. You are not human anymore. A voice suddenly broke the silence. Again, a sharp blast of energy hit him from behind. He rolled, dodging it just in time. Another beam followed. He ran across the floor, faster than he thought possible. His feet barely touched the ground. On the edge of the chamber stood General Oris, the tall Nightborn warrior who had called him weak. His armor glowed with red light, and his eyes followed Raylan like a hawk. You hesitate, Oris growled. You think like a human. That will get you killed. Raylan raised his hands. Red sparks danced at his fingertips. He didn't know how, but energy flowed through him like fire. His body was a weapon now. He aimed his hand and fired. A red blast struck Oris's shield, sending waves of heat through the room. Oris smiled. Better, but not enough. He rushed forward. In a blink, he was in front of Raylan. They fought. Fists, claws, power. Raylan ducked, punched, flipped. His body moved, faster than his mind, but Oris was stronger. He slammed Raylan into the wall, cracking the stone. You fight like someone afraid of himself, Oris said. Embrace the hunger, Raylan shouted and pushed back with a wave of red light. Oris slid across the floor, finally impressed. Then, the chamber opened. Queen Saraxa entered, her long dark robes flowing like shadows. The room bowed to her presence. Enough, she said. Oris stepped back. He is improving, the general said, but still human at heart. Saraxa walked to Raylan. And that heart is what makes him different. Raylan stood, breathing hard. What is this power inside me? It's like fire and ice at the same time. It is the gift of the Nightborn, she said. But your human soul twists it, changes it. That makes you dangerous and unique. She led him to a dark mirror on the wall. Not glass, something else. It reflected not the body, but the spirit. Raylan saw himself, not as he looked, but as he now was. His eyes glowed faint red, his veins pulsed with dark energy. Behind him, shadow wings flickered like the ghost of something ancient. What is that? He whispered. Your true form, Saraxa said. A blend of human and Nightborn. The first of its kind. He turned away from the mirror. I didn't ask for this. No, she said quietly. But it was always meant for you. They walked through a side corridor. Torches lit the path, but their flames were black and cold. I know what you're feeling, she continued. The hunger is coming. It will whisper in your mind. You'll feel it in your blood. The need to feed. On what? He asked. Life, she said, not flesh, not blood, but the energy of living things, emotion, fear, pain, memory. It is how we survive. He looked at her with fear. I don't want to become a monster. Then control it, she said. Because if you don't, you will feed without knowing, and someone will die. He fell silent, They entered another chamber. This one was full of prisoners, strange creatures from other worlds. Some were angry, some afraid, some broken. Choose one, Saraxa said. Raylan stared in shock. What? Feed. Control it. Take only what you need. He stepped back. This is wrong. They are criminals, Ora said behind him. Killers, slavers. They do not deserve mercy. But Raylan couldn't move. He looked into the eyes of one prisoner, a young alien boy, barely older than a teen. Shaking. Terrified. Raylan's heart ached. The hunger whispered. But he fought. Oh, he dropped to his knees, closing his eyes. I won't do it. Saraxa walked to him and placed a hand on his shoulder. Then you are stronger than we thought. Suddenly a sound echoed through the chamber, a warning siren. Red light flashed. Nightborn soldiers rushed in. What's happening? Raylan asked. A guard spoke. There's been an attack, in the lower chambers. Saraxa narrowed her eyes. Who dares? Then she looked at Raylan. You're coming with me. They moved fast through the halls. Bodies lay on the ground, burned, drained. Whoever attacked wasn't just killing. They were feeding. They reached a lab. Broken glass, scattered notes, destroyed machines, and one open pod. Empty. With human blood smeared inside. Raylan stared at it. What is this place? Saraxa answered, her voice dark. This is where we tried to create others like you. But they didn't survive. You used humans as test subjects? He asked. They volunteered, she said, but the process broke them. So why me? He asked again. Because you didn't break. Suddenly, a voice laughed from the shadows. Not yet, it said. A figure stepped out of the dark. Tall, twisted. Eyes glowing red but wrong. Unstable. It looked human. But something inside it was broken. Its smile was wide. Its voice was like metal tearing. Hello, brother, it said. I was the first. Raylan's blood ran cold. He wasn't the only one. Assassins in the dark, he was the first. Those words echoed inside Raylan's mind. The creature standing in front of him looked like a man. Tall, muscular, human. But his eyes were wrong. One eye was glowing red, the other completely black. His skin was pale and cracked like dry stone. Veins of dark light ran under it. He smiled, but there was no kindness in it. You survived the change, the creature said. So did I. But they left me here. In the dark. Raylan stepped forward slowly. Who are you? They called. Me, Subject Zero. I was the first experiment. The first human they tried to make immortal. And it failed, Saraxa whispered beside Raylan. You were unstable. Dangerous. Subject Zero laughed. It was cold and sharp. No. I was perfect, but I didn't obey. That's why you locked me away. He looked at Raylan now. But you're their new toy, their new hope. His voice changed. Deeper. Angrier. You stole my place. Then he attacked. Before Raylan could move, Subject Zero was already in front of him, claws out, striking fast. Their powers clashed. Red and black energy lighting up the lab. Machines exploded. Glass shattered. Raylan fought back with everything he had. Fists, energy, instinct. His body moved on its own, faster, stronger than before. But Zero was wild, stronger, broken but powerful. Saraxa joined the fight. Shadows rose from her fingers like living blades. She moved with perfect control, striking with precision. Still, Zero laughed. You cannot kill me, he screamed. I am the future you're afraid of. Finally, with a wave of her hand, Saraxa froze him in a field of pure dark energy. He stopped moving, shaking, frozen, but not dead. Lock him in the deep cell, she ordered. Do not speak to him. Do not feed him. Raylan watched as guards dragged Zero away, still smiling. Hours later, the halls of the palace were tense. Saraxa and Raylan sat in the war chamber. Maps of alien worlds floated in the air, showing battles, fallen cities, and hidden bases. "How many more like him are there?" Raylan asked. "None," she said. "We stopped the experiments after him." "Until you? But why bring me here, at all? If you knew it could end like that?" She paused. "Because time is running out," she said. "My people are dying. Our enemies grow stronger, and we are being hunted from within." Before Raylan could ask what she meant, the lights flickered, then a scream, then silence. Saraxa stood instantly. "They're here." "Who?" Raylan asked. "Assassins, from my own bloodline." She turned to Raylan. "They do not want peace. They do not want humans. They want the old ways, and they want me dead." The palace fell into chaos. Assassins in black armor poured into the halls. They moved like shadows, almost invisible. Their weapons were strange, blades made of void, silent and deadly. The guards fought back, but the assassins were trained. Fast, ruthless. Raylan grabbed a fallen weapon and joined the fight. His new body responded like a machine. Each strike, each dodge perfect. He wasn't thinking. He was becoming something else. But then, a whisper. Not outside, inside his head. "Feed." His vision turned red. The hunger. It was rising again. Stronger this time. It wanted to take over. He saw an assassin charge at him. He didn't move. His body did it for him. He grabbed the attacker's face and light burst out. Red energy flooded from his hand into the assassin. The man screamed, falling like a puppet with its strings cut. Raylan stepped back in horror. He didn't just kill him. He drained him. Saraxa saw it. Her face was unreadable. "You must learn control," she said. "I didn't mean to," he whispered. "I know," she said. "But if you lose control in battle, you will become the thing you fear." Suddenly, the throne room doors exploded. Oris walked in, bleeding, holding the body of one of the young hybrids. "They found the child," he said. Raylan froze. "No, we were too late," Oris said. "They were not just trying to kill you, they were cleaning the bloodline." "What does that mean?" Raylan asked. Saraxa's eyes burned with fury. "They want to erase every sign of our future, every human nightborn, hybrid, including you." The war wasn't coming. It had already started. That night, Raylan stood on a balcony, looking at the stars. He could hear everything. Every whisper, every breath, every heartbeat in the palace. He was changing more every hour. He felt pain, rage, hunger. But he also felt something else, deep sense that his past life was gone forever. He wasn't a soldier anymore. He wasn't even human anymore. He was something new. And now, he had enemies. Not just the assassins, but the ancient bloodline of the Nightborn themselves. And they were coming for him next. Truth and lies. The silence in the palace was heavy. The air smelled like burned stone and blood. Bodies of guards and assassins had been cleared, but the memory of the attack remained. Every shadow felt dangerous now. Every whisper could be a lie. "Captain." Raylan stood alone in the healing chamber, staring at his reflection in a pool of black water. His eyes were no longer brown. They glowed softly in the dark, red and gold mixed together. Not fully Nightborn, not fully human. Something in between. He was changing, and not just in body. Something inside him was different now. Colder, quieter, more controlled. He could still feel the last assassin he drained, feel his memories, his pain, his last breath. He hated it. A soft sound broke the silence behind him. Queen Saraxa entered, wearing no crown today, no armor, just a black robe that moved like smoke. She looked tired, older, but her eyes were the same, sharp, unreadable, powerful. "They were sent by someone close to me," she said. Raylan didn't turn around. Who? She walked slowly to the edge of the pool. My brother. Raylan looked at her now. You never told me you had family. Because he's no longer my brother, she said. Not after what he did. What did he do? He wanted war, she said. I wanted peace. He believed the Nightborn were meant to rule, not hide in shadows. He wanted to purge the hybrids and take control. And you stopped him? I tried, she whispered. But he disappeared. Until now. Raylan stepped back from the water. You said the child was the only one, but there were others, weren't there? Saraxa nodded slowly. Yes. Before you, we tried many. Soldiers, prisoners, volunteers. Only one survived. Subject 0, Raylan said. No, she replied. Raylan froze. What? He wasn't the first, and he wasn't the only one. She walked to a hidden wall, placed her hand on it. The wall opened, revealing a narrow staircase leading downward, into darkness. There's something you need to see, she said. They walked together deeper and deeper underground. The air grew colder. The walls changed from polished stone to something older, something ancient, covered in symbols that moved when you stared too long. Finally, they reached a door. It was sealed by 7 locks. One opened with her hand, another with her blood, the rest with silent thoughts. Inside was a long chamber filled with glass tanks, and inside them, humans. Or what was left of them. Their bodies were floating, pale, still alive somehow, but twisted. Part Nightborn, part something else. Raylan stepped back, heart pounding. What is this? This is what happens when the change fails, Saraxa said. When the body accepts the gift, but the soul cannot. You kept them alive? Some can be healed, she said. Some, I don't know. Raylan looked at one tank. Inside was a woman. Her face was calm, her eyes open. She looked peaceful. Who is she? Saraxa hesitated. Her name was Ilara. She was the first to survive. Raylan turned sharply. You told me I was the first. Saraxa looked at him with regret in her voice. I lied. Rage burned inside him. Why? Why keep this from me? Because if you knew the truth too soon, you would break. He stepped closer. What else are you hiding? Saraxa didn't answer, but someone else did. A voice echoed from the chamber door. Everything. Raylan turned fast. It was Oris. But something was wrong. His eyes were black. His voice too calm, too quiet. He walked into the room like he owned it. You should have told him, sister, he said. But then again, you always loved secrets. Raylan stepped between them. What's going on? Oris smiled. She didn't just choose you. She made you. Raylan's heart stopped. What do you mean? You think this was chance? No. She used your DNA, your memories, your pain. She planned your creation long before you ever landed on this world. Saraxa said nothing. Her silence was the answer. Raylan's hands clenched. Is that true? She nodded. We had your data, from your missions, your record, your blood, taken during peace talks years ago. We searched for the perfect human, and you were it. You didn't save me, he whispered. You built me. No, she said quickly. I chose you. Yes, I planned it. Yes, I needed you, but I didn't lie about this. I didn't expect to feel anything. Raylan stared at her. Feel what? She stepped closer. Regret. A blast of black energy slammed into the chamber, knocking them apart. Oris stood tall now, his armor gone, his true form revealed. Dark wings, a crown of bone, eyes like twin black suns. He wasn't just her brother. He was the true heir to the Nightborn throne, and he had come to claim it. Return to Earth. The stars blurred past the windows of the dark ship. Raylan stood alone at the front of the command deck, watching Earth grow larger through the glass. Blue oceans, white clouds, his home. the place he had fought for, bled for. But he didn't feel like he was going home. He felt like a ghost returning to a city that no longer remembered his name. Behind him, Queen Syraxa sat silently. Her eyes were distant, cold. The wounds from her brother's betrayal had not healed, and deeper wounds, ones Raylan could not see, were growing inside her. They had escaped Horus for now, but they both knew the war was far from over. "Are you sure about this?" she asked softly. "I have to see it," Raylan said. "I have to know if there's anything left worth protecting. They may not accept you," she warned. He looked at his reflection in the glass. "I wouldn't either." The ship entered Earth's orbit without a sound, cloaked from satellites, invisible to human eyes. It landed in a remote desert, far from cities, far from cameras. Raylan stepped onto the ground. The air was warm, dry, familiar. But his body felt out of place, like wearing someone else's skin. His senses were overwhelmed. Heartbeats from miles away, the heat from buried wires, even the fear in distant animals. He was too aware of everything. And yet, deeply alone. Syraxa stayed on the ship. Her presence, though powerful, would cause panic. She understood that. She gave Raylan one thing before he left, a shard of her power, a living crystal that pulsed in his chest. It would protect him or destroy him. Raylan reached the outskirts of a small military base, once home to his unit. The same base that had sent him to war and never got him back. He didn't need to sneak in. He walked through the gates like a ghost. Within seconds, alarms blared. Soldiers surrounded him, rifles aimed, orders shouted. "On your knees! Hands in the air!" Raylan obeyed. "Identify yourself," a voice demanded. He spoke calmly. "Captain Raylan Dane, I'd code 05 Charlie Red." The name hit them like a bomb. Faces changed, whispers spread. "That's impossible. He died. 3 years ago. He was taken into the base, surrounded by armed guards. He didn't resist." In a steel interrogation room, a familiar face walked in. General Harper, older now. Tougher, eyes like stone. She stared at him for a long time before speaking. "If this is some kind of trick..." "It's not," Raylan said. "You're supposed to be dead." "I was." She sat across from him. "Where have you been?" "Another world, another war. You look human, but something's wrong. You feel like a threat." He didn't deny it. "I'm not what I used to be," he said. "Are you a danger to this planet?" He looked her in the eye. "Only if you make me one." Silence. Then she asked the question he had feared the most. "What happened to you, Captain?" He told her everything, the battlefield, the Queen, the transformation, the powers, the hunger, the assassins, Horus, the coming war. He expected disbelief, laughter, chains. Instead, she nodded. "We've seen strange things since you disappeared. New species, unexplained attacks, alien signals near Mars." She leaned closer. "Tell me the truth. Are they coming?" "They're already here," Raylan said. That night the sky over Earth burned red. Unknown ships appeared in orbit, dark, silent, massive. Panic spread across the planet. Governments called emergency meetings. Weapons were armed. Satellites shut down. But nothing stopped them. Then, nothing happened. No attack, no signal. Just silence. "They're watching," Raylan said. "They want to see what Earth will do." Deep beneath Washington, Raylan met with Earth's secret defense council. Scientists, generals, spies. None of them could decide what to do with him. Some called him a hero. Others called him a time bomb. But then, something worse happened. A message was intercepted. Not from space, from Earth itself. An underground base in the Arctic. One of humanity's black sites had gone dark. A camera feed showed the last moments, soldiers screaming. Shadows moving, eyes glowing red. Horus had arrived. He wasn't just attacking the stars. He was already on Earth, Raylan stood before the council. "You need me," one general shouted. "You expect us to trust an immortal monster?" "No," Raylan said. "I expect you to trust a soldier who came home." General Harper stood beside him. "Give him a unit. Give him the resources, or we're already dead." The room went silent, and then approval. Operation Shadow Dawn was launched. Raylan would lead it. Against Oris, against his own kind, and maybe against himself. That night, before leaving, for the Arctic, Raylan stood under the stars again. The same stars he had once bled under. But this time, he was not the same man. He felt the hunger rising. He felt the Queen's power inside him. He felt the storm approaching, and in the dark he whispered one promise: "I will protect this world, even if it fears me." Behind him, the wind shifted. Someone was watching. A child's voice echoed faintly. "Help me." He turned, eyes glowing, and vanished into the night. Immortal war. The ice cracked under Raylan's boots. He stood at the edge of the Arctic base, wind howling around him like a warning. Snow blasted his face, but he didn't feel the cold. Not anymore. The hunger in him burned hotter than fire now. Below, the surface in the dark tunnels of the buried facility, something ancient had awakened. Oris, the Nightborn Prince, the blood traitor, the one who called himself heir to the stars. He was no longer hiding. He wanted a throne, and he had come to take it, starting with Earth. Inside the frozen base, the walls were marked with strange symbols, glowing red. Human tech was twisted, fused with alien design. Doors were melted, soldiers were drained. Only shadows remained. Raylan moved fast through the corridors, silent and sharp. His senses were screaming. Death was everywhere. But so was something else, a presence. Not Oris, Saraxa. He found her in the center of the control room, kneeling, hands bound in chains made from void metal. Her hair hung like silver snow, her eyes dull, but alive. She looked up as he entered. "You came back," she said softly. "You knew I would," Raylan replied. "Then I'm sorry." Before he could speak again, the shadows behind her moved. Oris stepped out, but he had changed. His body was now more shadow than flesh. His voice echoed like thunder through a cave. A crown of bone floated above his head. Wings of pure darkness stretched behind him. "My brother returns," Oris said with a grin. "How poetic." "I'm not your brother," Raylan said. "I'm your end," Oris laughed. "You still don't understand. You were never meant to save this world. You were built to join me." He raised his hand, and the ground trembled. Dark energy filled the room. "I will burn this world and rebuild. Get in our image. Humans had their chance, now they will serve." "You want slaves?" Raylan said. "I want a future." Oris smiled wider. "Then fight for it." The final battle began. Raylan charged first. He moved faster than thought, his fists glowing red, every strike shaking the walls. Oris countered with shadows, giant claws, black fire, screaming echoes of the dead. They clashed like titans, light against dark, past against future. Walls collapsed. Fire rained from the ceiling. Ice cracked, steel melted. Saraxa broke her chains and joined them, wielding her shadow blades. She struck at Oris's side, weakening him. For a moment, the three immortals spun in battle, a storm of power and pain. But Oris was too strong. He grabbed Saraxa by the throat, lifting her off the ground. "You betrayed our blood," he said. "No," she gasped. "I gave it hope." He prepared to strike her down. Raylan screamed and released everything. His power exploded. A red wave blasted through the room, knocking Oris across the chamber. The hunger took over. Raylan's body burned with fire. Wings of energy spread from his back. He was no longer holding it in. He had become what they feared, a living weapon, a god of war. He walked toward Oris, eyes glowing, steps shaking the earth. Oris stood, bleeding, laughing. "You feel it now, don't you?" he said. "The power, the hunger. It's beautiful, isn't it?" Raylan didn't answer. He raised his hand and stabbed Oris through the heart with a blade of pure energy. Oris gasped, but smiled. "You think this ends with me?" "No," Raylan said. He looked at Saraxa and at the earth above. "It ends with me." He opened his arms and pulled all of Oris's energy into himself. A wave of power hit him. Screams, memories, rage, hunger, everything. His body shook. His skin cracked. He began to burn from the inside. Saraxa screamed his name, but Raylan only looked at her. "Take care of them," he said, and exploded. Light filled the Arctic sky. A red star burned for a moment above the frozen world. Then silence. Days later, the Earth was safe. Oris was gone. His army scattered. His ships vanished. Queen Saraxa returned to her world, leaving behind a message for Earth. "We are watching, we are listening, and we remember the one who stood between the dark and the light." In a hidden room deep underground, General Harper lit a candle for the man she once called soldier. "He saved us," she whispered. But far, beyond, at the edge of space, in a dark chamber where stars do not shine, a spark of red light moved, a heart beat once, and a whisper rose. "I'm not done yet."